Imagine a land of breathtaking beauty, of soaring mountains and tranquil cherry blossoms. Now, imagine that same land torn apart by a century of relentless conflict. This was Japan during the Sengoku Jidai, the age of warring states. From the mid-15th to the early 17th century, the authority of the central government collapsed. The emperor was a figurehead, a symbol without power. The shogun was equally weak. Real power lay in the hands of ambitious regional warlords known as daimyo. Each was a king in his own right, ruling from a formidable castle and commanding samurai armies. Samurai were the warrior elite, bound by bushido. For generations, the katana, the bow, and the spear decided the fate of battles. The thunderous cavalry charge was the pinnacle of strategy. Tradition, honor, and the flashing blade held sway. But the world was on the brink of violent, irreversible change. The old ways were about to be shattered. Across a fractured land, daimyo fought endlessly, for land, resources, and advantage. Above all, they fought to unify Japan under their own banner. Chaos forged legends, and all currents converged upon a small castle called Nagashino. The Battle of Nagashino was not just a clash of armies, it was a collision of three titanic personalities. Each vied for control of Japan's destiny. The aggressor was Takeda Katsuyori, living under the immense shadow of his father, Takeda Shingen. Shingen, the Tiger of Kai, was a brilliant and feared daimyo. He turned cavalry into an unstoppable force. When Shingen died in 1573, Katsuyori inherited power and the burden of reputation. Katsuyori was brave, capable, but less patient than his father. He felt constant pressure to secure a defining victory. He continued his father's march toward Kyoto, through rival domains. This ambition set him on a collision course with Tokugawa Ieyasu and Oda Nobunaga. Ieyasu, patient and cunning, was a survivor. He learned the era's treacherous politics as a hostage. He built a powerful domain, but lay in Katsuyori's path. His strength was alliance with Oda Nobunaga, the era's most revolutionary warlord. Nobunaga was ruthless, innovative, contemptuous of tradition. He embraced new technologies to achieve Tenkafubu, rule by force. Threat to Ieyasu was opportunity. Eliminate the mighty Takeda once and for all. On the chessboard of 16th century Japan, some places were keys to entire regions. Nagashino was one such place, a small fort at the junction of two rivers, besieged by Takeda, with Oda Tokugawa racing to relieve it. It was no grand fortress, but its position was critical. Nagashino was a dagger pointed at Tokugawa Ieyasu's heart. For Katsuyori, taking it was non-negotiable. For Ieyasu, it guarded his domain's flank. 500 men, led by Okudaira Sadamasa, were tasked to hold, no matter what. In May 1575, Katsuyori arrived with 15,000, including his famed cavalry. Assaults crashed against cliffs, rivers, and sheer grit, and failed. Days turned to weeks. Supplies bled away. Frustration mounted. This delay was exactly what Nobunaga and Ieyasu needed. Nobunaga marched with 30,000, joining Ieyasu's 8,000. They advanced to Shitaragahara, a nearby plain. They chose ground carefully, transforming it into a killing field. The fate of Nagashino and Japan would be decided there. Oda Nobunaga did not fight by old rules. He arrived with a revolutionary idea. He saw not a dueling ground, but a fortress without walls. He ordered extensive field fortifications. Long, crisscrossing palisades stretched across the plain to break momentum. His secret weapon was the arquebus, introduced by Portuguese traders. Clumsy, slow, and inaccurate, despised by traditionalists. But Nobunaga saw their potential. A peasant with a gun could kill the most skilled samurai. Genius lay in organization, coordinated ranks 3 deep. First rank, fire, then kneel to reload. Second rank, step forward and fire. Third rank, fire. By then the first is ready again. Volley fire. A continuous rolling storm of lead. 3,000 arquebusiers took position behind the fences. The open plain ahead became a kill zone. Palisades funneled and slowed the charge. Spearmen were ready to stop any breakthrough. When Katsuyori learned the plain was fortified, his veterans urged caution, withdraw. But pride and taunts that he was not his father clouded his judgment. He saw fences and infantry as an affront to his legendary cavalry. He gave the order to attack. On June 28, 1575, beneath a gray, rainy sky, the drums began. The elite Red Brigade mounted their steeds, crimson armor blazing.
Hey, oh!
They charged, a wave of steel and fury, sure of victory. Rain-softened ground slowed their horses. A small river, its banks deliberately steepened, broke their formation. They reformed and met the wooden fences. Fences forced them into narrow lanes, creating a chaotic logjam. They were funneled exactly where Nobunaga wanted them. Trapped, slowed, and bunched, the cavalry became the perfect target. Swords and spears were useless at that range. As they surged into the kill zone, Nobunaga gave the signal. The storm of fire was about to be unleashed. As the first wave hit the palisades, the order was given. A deafening roar erupted as 1,000 arquebuses fired as one. Thick, acrid smoke filled the air. A hail of lead ripped through the Takeda vanguard, knights and horses alike. The thunderous crack spooked mounts and shocked men. A second volley, then a third. No pause, no respite. Nobunaga's system of continuous fire worked to perfection. Samurai fell before they could reach their enemies. A lifetime of training and honor met gunpowder's reality. Takeda commanders could not comprehend. They sent wave after wave. Each met the same fate. Renowned Takeda leaders were shot from their horses. Fences shielded gunners. Spearmen finished any breakthroughs. It was not a battle. It was a slaughter. Over 10,000 Takeda lay dead. Oda Tokugawa losses were minimal. The arquebus had proven absolute supremacy. Well-drilled foot soldiers with firearms could defeat elite cavalry. The age of the sword ended in gunpowder smoke. The defeat at Nagashino was a catastrophic blow from which the Takeda never recovered. So many warriors and brilliant commanders were lost in a single day. Katsuyori escaped, but his authority evaporated, vassals deserting him. Soon, the once mighty Takeda faded into history. Nagashino removed a major obstacle to Nobunaga's unification and sent shockwaves across Japan. Every daimyo confronted the brutal lesson. The cavalry charge era was over. Firearms were now decisive. An arms race and new training began. Nobunaga's methods were cemented. With rivals removed, he advanced unification. The battle elevated Tokugawa Ieyasu, who would shape Japan's future. Though Nobunaga was assassinated in 1582, his path enabled successors to finish the work. On that bloody field, the foundation for a unified Japan was laid. It marked the violent birth of modern Japan. Mass infantry, firearms, and discipline paved the way for stable armies and lasting peace. The echoes of Nagashino's volleys heralded the end of the warring states. Under the Tokugawa shogunate, peace endured for over 250 years. Nagashino, where tradition met gunpowder, and Japan changed forever.